What's up, YouTube? It is Black Guy Senpai. Today I have some friends with me. We are going to talk about the Aquaforce episode, some trial deck cards from Aquaforce, and some set cards from Aquaforce and how we feel about it. So, if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself,
Who first?
you can go
I'll
first.
go first.
Oh, you sure? I can
Uh,
I can introduce you if you want.
to
I
myself, I do it all the time. What's good, you two? CardFight King here, Aqua Life, baby. You already know how it is.
I'm just TisSkill. I just chill.
All right. So, how do you guys feel about Aquaforce and Standard as a whole right now?
That's pretty cool. Um, I think Aquaforce right now. I know we're going to talk about this later, but with the reveal of of at least one of Maelstrom's skill giving plus 3k to the front row, I feel more comfortable about what we have, but compare it to what we've seen other clans get from the booster. Um, not liking our grade one support, and I'm not too fond of our grade two support. Obviously, until we see what Algos and Tidal Assault bring, but so far I'm on the fence right now. But it's not great. But again, we gotta see, until we get our higher rarity stuff.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that because it's like to me this week's episode was a perfect chance to like, hey, this is what this does, this is what this does, this is what this does, or at least like show more of what we already knew of things to do. Um, I'm just hoping that the rest of Maelstrom skill is great. The suspected leaked skill from Algos that we have will be correct because right now, as it is right now, it looks pretty good. Um, it's not amazing, but I'm actually like happier with it than I thought I would be. And then just like I agree with you though, with the grade ones need some milk. What about you, Tiz?
Oh, it's kind of that situation where, especially in the grade one lineup, you can't help but feel, a little bit anxious to how you're going to build your deck with your grade ones. Um, I mean, yeah, we have title to look forward to. Yeah, we have algos to look forward to. But for this, it almost seems like we might be going to back in the olden days when, you know, like it was tough to hit the battles you needed, and it was tough to get the cards you needed because we didn't have draw. I mean, we all know this is going to be a change from the G era where Aquaforce was drawing so much, where your pieces didn't really matter because you had some way to make something so you could draw for the next turn. Um, and that just kind of segues into the whole Excel's limited by how much their clan in that gift is able to get to their pieces and draw to their pieces. So I'm hoping with some of the reveals we get something that at least allows us to get somewhere. Like a perfect example is if you look at Tachi's, which is in the extra booster before us. They have cards where they can draw and get to their pieces. On top of building their gauge, which is already kind of a downside. But they seem to plus off of it as well. So I'm just hoping there's more to be revealed because right now it's a little lackluster, but I have hope.
Yeah, I had that hope. I had that same hope, that same glimmer, a week ago. At around this time, because I just got done watching the episode, I looked it up. I was like, oh man, Maelstrom entitled confirmed. They're in the episode. They're gonna show us what they do. And then slowly throughout the week, Bushy Road has like stomped me in the nuts every single card reveal.
I mean, I will say this though. When I was playing Aquaforce back in BT 08 and GBT 13, or I'm sorry, in BT 13, it was hard to play Aquaforce. Okay, and then
Yep.
we got GBT 2, and it was kind of easy. And then you got BT 09 and the extra booster and all that, or the clan booster, And once again, Force was pretty easy. And then GBT 13 happened, and Force was literally like you just slam Alexandros, and it was the easiest deck. So there is something to be said to go back to that play style of this is a hard deck to play, because I remember playing in BT13 and people were saying how they were complimenting me like you play so well and this clan is hard to play, and I like that. So I like the fact that we're kind of going back to that, but we'll see how everything comes out.
Yeah, that's what I feel like most Excel clans are gonna be like because force is just force. You know, you sit there with your big numbers and you take it. Protect is protect. You just keep blocking, and you have to know what to block. But Excel is like you have to like really be like in tune with your deck to actually get a win off because you have realistically like no defense. Your defense is your offense and taking your opponent's cards out of their hands. Plus the fact that like you if you don't draw into your pieces, you got to know, you got to have a backup plan. You got to have a plan A through F and then after that you got to have like another plan of A through Z. So I think that, you know, people who are going to play this deck and really not to be punny, excel at it are going to be the people that take the time, learn the deck, um, and just do what they do. All right.
Well,
So,
it's gonna be the hardest deck to learn, probably in the game. It's probably gonna be just the hardest deck to learn. I don't know about Spike Brothers, but people are laughing it out. I think that this deck.
all right. So, all right. So some of the cards that we did get, that we do have confirmed skills for, one of them is Naval Gazer Dragon, who I am naming the best trial deck boss in the entire game, in the entire standard format right now. We don't know what Black Alfred, oh sorry, not Black Alfred. That's what me and my friends call him. Dark Dictator does. Um, but Naval Gazer is very simple, easy. Excels your 12k. Auto Vanguard when he attacks. Third battle of this turn or more. Counterblast one. Stand one of your rear guards, and this unit gets plus 10. Um, I think he's really good because he makes himself able to get out of that Excel mindset where, oh man, if I don't put down a booster or if I don't hit a trigger, I can't hit their Vanguard. You're swinging for 22. And all you gotta do is just swing third, which is not hard.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know at this point if I'd call him the best because, in my opinion, Draconic Overlord, the fact that he can be used on van and rear, and the fact that on van he has that restand. Like, you know what really sucks in standard is you don't have much guard in the beginning. They ride Draconic Overlord, they hit a crit on him, and they restand. Like, yeah, he's kind of a negative to the hand when you look at it, but the fact that if they hit a crit, I mean, not only are you taking damage once, but he's going to restand. And if you don't have guard, you're dead. I mean, he's probably number two, though. He does fix the Excel problem, which Nova Grapplers, I feel, had, and that is if you don't have a booster, then you need a trigger to hit, and he definitely fixes that. So I'm happy. And he stands something. So it's kind of a free plus, because even if they check a trigger and you can't hit the Vanguard with your rear guard that you stood, you can at least snipe one of the rears or something of that sort.
Yeah, yeah, like that's I don't know, but like yeah, Draconic Overlord is a thing, but to me like if Draconic Overlord does not hit, like just PG it, like I know it's easier saying that, but like you don't have to worry about the restand.
Sure, but it's pressure, right?
Yeah,
So when you think about it, are you going to PG Draconic Overlord, or are you going to guard with triggers that then you don't have for waterfall? Like he offers a lot of pressure going into the waterfall turn that I don't think people kind of look at as much because they're like, oh, I just want to slam waterfall all day, and that's great. But Draconic Overlord really, they're forced to either take the hit or PG it because they can't use the PG for waterfall.
yeah,
And
What's your ideal ride?
yeah,
yeah, he
The
is.
first ride because you want You don't want to ride Waterfall first, obviously, but in that situation, has a really bad issue, and it's been thing since the beginning that they don't have rear guards. Their rear guard support is okay, but they usually don't have boosters, and the rear guards don't really hit for numbers. And literally, where the clan's at right now, and I know some players who can make some good rear guards with them, but it's like have they have to make good numbers on their Vanguard circle, and they rely heavily on the Vanguard circle. In relation to where Aquaforce is, I feel as if what else Maelstrom does, we are going to definitely be a lot more balanced, in that regard. And with Naval Gazer, I think Naval Gazer could possibly be better than Dragonic Overlord, just because rear guard, a guaranteed extra rear guard attack for a counter and blast, some extra power, depending on get what we see from maybe Diamantes, um, to between one of those two, and maybe even Basil if you play it. They have an even more pressurizing turn, but it's also going to determine. We have to decide triggers we're going to use as well, because in the episode we saw Leon use both crits and fronts. Basically, he was running Rainbow. So
Yeah, and I mean that's what the anime is probably going to showcase when it comes to Excel clans, because they have access to 4 triggers. But realistically, do I think we're going to run Rainbow? No. I think what's going to wind up happening, depending on if we don't get other draws from other rear guards, we're going to have to run 6 draw and 6 either front or crit. And right now, it's kind of looking like we're going to probably want to run crit,
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I agree with you there. Like I was literally having this same conversation with my friends at locals, and I was like, I don't think fronts are going to be that effective in Aquaforce. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but like we have a bunch of things that stand rear guards or rear guards that stand themselves. So why not make use of the crits? Because um, I know there's like we're talking about Aquaforce, but to harken back to Dragonic Overlord, if you hit a crit and you put on a restanding rear guard, then they have to commit. Um, they have to commit the guard to stop you from hitting. Imagine like if Title Assault is still a 9K restand, you put him on an Excel circle, he's 19. You give him a crit, he's 29. That's 29, and I'm gonna assume his skill is still the same. He loses 5. 29 then 25. That's at least two 15K shields, or a 20K and then a 15K shield to block him both times. Um, and then like if you swing with Algos, that just makes it even better, in my opinion.
Do you notice that they're trying to get around that though? Because Algos's, the assumed Algo skill
Yeah,
is first battle on rear guard, counterblast 1, restand, which means you can't just dump crits on him. So Title might be the only one we're able to dump crits on, assuming his skill is similar.
yeah. Actually,
I've taken a real liking to front triggers now. It's obviously because I've been playing Nova Grapplers, and I think that clan is just right now it's just extra mediocre. The you know playing Aquaforce with front triggers. Obviously, I want to see what the other things does, but looking at where our battle patterns were, and like Maelstrom was the actual fourth turn. From what I saw, I can review it again, but it doesn't seem he was like the fourth second turn. And if you have units like Algos and Tidal Assault who do restand themselves, then that means that you can do a pattern where you attack with like Algos and then attack with Tidal. They both restand themselves, and I think Maelstrom would be swinging on the third battle. nature. Again, don't know if it's third or fourth. And then if you hit a front trigger, and the one thing I liked about front triggers is that everything is 10K. Great. You hit a front trigger, then it makes everything easier to bank because it's like, well, if I hit a front trigger, I just 10, plus 10K trigger. Well, I can either break shielding or give it to somebody else. And in that scenario, I feel like fronts could be better than crits for Aquaforce and maybe just Excel clans in general. And this is just a thought, is because prioritize pressure over the possible extra damage that crits could provide, because crits, you're only applying it to when you're only applying the power. If they've already used their restanding skill, then you can easily plan for both. But with a front trigger, everybody a lot more power to hit with, and since we specialize in tax, if everybody gets a piece of the cake, then we're all happy. So then that's my thing. I've just gained a new respect for front triggers playing with Nova Grab.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Like front triggers are great because when you hit it, it's like if you're playing it. Well, obviously you're playing Excel. It's like you just hit four triggers technically, because everybody gets the power and you have a full front row. But I still think that the more pressure, because like the more pressure is gonna be from crits, because crits get shit done. Oh God, am I Johnny Cochran? I'm starting to rhyme about a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, I think crits get stuff done. Like they kill faster, in my opinion. Yeah, fronts drain hand better, um, arguably, but I think that crits are better than fronts, probably marginally, but that's what I think.
I mean, here's the way I look at it, though. I mean, and this is where fronts will work better in Nova Grappler. Keep in mind that Nova Grappler is not limited by wave restriction, where Aquaforce is. So, assuming if Maelstrom doesn't have any type of wave restrictment, then maybe I could see fronts and I could see the argument for Chris, and it might be a 50-50. But depending on the wave requirements, it really depends. If Maelstrom has to swing the second time, then maybe fronts are still viable. But if he has to swing the fourth time to get like a big ability off, I mean, I just don't know. Depending on your rear guards, like Nova Grappler, they don't have that restriction. So let's just say Nova Grappler hit a couple draws and they have a pretty decent hand, and they have two Excel circles as well as two rear guard circles, and they load it up. You can literally run front still because Perfect Riser doesn't matter. He can swing whenever, and he can stand two rear guards for Counterblast too. So fronts are still viable. Where in Maelstrom, if you have to like reach for that fourth attack because you had to reach, then crits might be viable, especially if Maelstrom gets some sort of guard restrict or whatever his ability is. It really is dependent upon his ability on what triggers we're going to run at this point.
Oh yeah. I mean, it just it. Here's my thing. Here's what I'll say. Situation where you have to for a fourth battle or something like that, already in some trouble. One can assume you're just in some real trouble, and you just don't want to be in that position. You know what I mean? Um, I just think that crits, yes, black eye crits. Crits are the best trigger in the history of the game. Personally, I don't feel the game should have crit triggers.
Yeah, I agree.
That's they're inherently the best triggers in the game. And I do see the fault with fronts. Fronts, if you don't have rear guards, front triggers are useless. If your opponent's at 4 damage and they know you play all front triggers, they'll no guard. They'll have an easier no guard with that, despite the amount of pressure you could put on them with. But in that respect, your opponent's on 5, and it's just I found risers, guaranteed, restand, which lock you out of most of the time, anyways. Um, the front triggers, the pressure you get from front triggers is greater than what you get with crit triggers. And right, see now with our battle restrictions, and we need to see what Maelstrom does and what battle he's limited to in that regard. There's just been so many times I've seen where a front trigger would have won a game, massive power boost to your units, than what a single crit can do, especially against a deck like, I mean, think of it. We have, to me, the deck that we have to worry about the most is Oracle Think Tank. And people say, "Oh, you could rush Oracle Think Tank," and I'm just like, "You will." Well, that's the case, but they hit their draw triggers, and they heal off damage, but they also draw a lot. They have Imperial Dart of Pressure. They set up for Deer, and I'm just like, you got to find a way to break through that wall. And yes, if you get a crit trigger, that's. But I guarantee you that they will have a protect marker or a perfect guard or something or some high amount of shielding able to block that one column. But if you hit a front trigger and they have to deal with multiple attacks, you're beating down that wall and you're draining their hand more so than you would with a crit trigger, especially if they hit a defensive trigger. They hit a defensive trigger, and that's my thing with Excel clans. Where we have one power less than like force cans or whatever. Is that they hit that defense trigger, and despite what Maelstrom's, that defensive trigger could easily set off your other two rearguard circles that are not Excel circles and just completely throw them off. Whereas if in that situation, if you hit a front trigger, you'll be able to bait out a 5 or 10K shield. And when I look at it, like, how many cards can I get out of your hand this turn? I don't look at I try to put damage on board, obviously, cards out of your hand so that you have less to play with during your turn, and then your following turn you have less to guard with. So that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'd like to also clear up a misconception that I've heard numerous times in my friends' circle, Salt and Murdered a couple times, is that they see Excel as a rush clan from start to finish. And although I think that that's not entirely wrong, it's not entirely true either. Like, I've seen it numerous times when I've tried to like rush somebody, like I would in like the G Air, for instance, with Nova Grappler, I get screwed later on in the game, and that's just point blank. So you know what I do? I try and use my advantage as much as possible, and not really call much until I get my Excel circle. And that's where Aquaforce, once again, back in the olden days, we used to be able to rush with the title assault on grade 2, on grade 3, and it started from the initial point of the game. And now, just because of where V is at, I don't see us rushing as much until we ride our first Excel. You know, so I just that's the problem I see right now. To go on with what CFK said, is just you're looking at, if they hit a trigger, it feels really bad, and rushing them in the beginning can feel really bad, especially if you're doing something like Hagro or OGT, and that person knows how to just attack your rear guard. So it's gone. Then you lost a card in hand. You lost possibly an attack on an Excel circle, and it just feels really bad. Assuming we still don't get any draw.
Yeah. But so wow, that was a lot about Naval Gazer. Anyway, so let's move on for a quick second. And apparently one of the people in my Discord, they were like, Algo's skill got, kind of leaked at the BCF in Nagoya, I think it is. And this is what his apparent skill is. It may be true, it may be not true. We don't know. But right now, what's being reported is auto Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, if it is the second attack of that turn, cost CB1. If you do, stand one of your rear guards. Then his second skill is auto rearguard circle. When it attacks, if it is the first attack of that turn, cost. Counterblast 1, if you do, stand this unit. I think it's probably because it's loosely translated. I think these are all optional skills. Um, and we still have the once per turn clause, so I don't know if you're on rear guard and you can restand Algos again, whatever. That's cool. I'm hoping that they're like or more, like first attack or second attack or more. But I like it. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's pretty good. Solid. Definitely a four of.
Of course, it's the only really good card that we've seen so far.
I mean
That's
that
exactly what I
okay.
was gonna
That's
say.
that's arguable. Okay, listen. First off, we got title assault. We don't know what his cost is to restand, but we know he restands. And then, secondly, there's Lazarus. Don't crucify me. And we have Basil. Those are all options. I'm not saying they're good options, but they're options.
Options that you run at 2.
Maybe one.
Oh,
You could run them at zero.
well, yes, exactly, exactly. Look, give me title assault, give me Algos, and I'll run with 8.
Jesus. Oh man.
Fun fact: back in the day, BT13, I ran with only 9 grade 2s.
Oh God. Yeah, I could.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that. G assist. Oh well, BT13. Yeah, that's fine. But like, I thought you meant like. Oh no, you said BT13 like with when title first came out, right? Not
Yup,
GBT13. Oh my
nine
God.
grade
There was
twos,
no G assist. You are a madman.
dude. I had to run 2 Diamantes. I'm not kidding.
Oh God. All right. So yeah, we all agree that Algos is good. Run it at four. If there's ORs of this card, you get four ORs of this card. Pay respects. Um, so we lightly touched on it, but Maelstrom, Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom Dragon. He is of course grade three. He's our boss unit, 12k, Excel Circle, and the only skill we know from him right now is continuous Vanguard. During your turn, all the units in the front row, including Excel circles, for those of you who were like, Excel circles aren't front row, they get power plus three. So, anybody want to speculate on the rest of his skill?
nope, I'm not gonna speculate. I'm gonna wait because I'm tired of speculating. I just want to see what the skill is. I like the +3 though. The +3 solves so many issues for me. Your boy Lazarus, you put and think about it. Your boy Lazarus behind Lazarus, and that's a 23k column. Good numbers, right?
Yep.
Hits.
Yeah, hits force numbers.
If it
I
hit,
mean,
give plus
you're not
8.
wrong.
Yeah, definitely not wrong. Definitely not wrong. I mean, we could use that 9K grade one vanilla behind Lazarus and hit 24 because that's good.
And that card. The
um,
card. I see that card. I thought playing that card like when I tried it out in Nova Grapplers, I'm just sitting here like miss out on that 10k shield. You really miss out of it because like Excel clans, sometimes we're not even going to be using boosters. We're just gonna, our boosters are attackers sometimes because people like to swing at our rear guards, and I'm just like, okay, great, well, uh, I need shielding. If I'm gonna hold a grade one back, I want shielding.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's definitely a issue we have right now.
I
Um,
think Maelstrom. I mean, I'm not going to speculate on the skill. Besides the fact that it seems, or at least I'm hoping, we might get some guardianship. But Maelstrom's skill is really going to, in my opinion, make or break what this deck really becomes. Because you need a solid grade 3. And although Naval Gazer is decent, we really need something to push the end. So Maelstrom's going to make or break the deck for the grade 3 lineup. And Title's going to make or break the grade 2 lineup. And if we get shafted on either of them, sorry, Aqua lads, but we're gonna have to go kayaking or something.
yeah, we'll just go play with Grand Blue
then,
for a little
then that
while.
means less I have to pay for the deck. Yay!
All right, and final card. Well, yeah, final card that we're gonna review whose skill that we knows out. is one of my personal favorites, Light Signals Penguin Soldier, uh, aka dual wielding penguin lightsabers. He is act rearguard, cost, rest this unit, and one of your units in the same column as this gets power +5 until end of turn, which is kind of important on that wording. And then his other skill is auto rearguard. When your other unit attacks, if it is the fourth battle of this turn, pay the cost. You can retire this unit and countercharge one. I, for one, I love this card. One, he like I'm not even looking at his give a unit +5 skill, but if you are on turn two and you have Algos as Vanguard, you could make use of Algos' skill to restand him, so he can give essentially +13 because he's an 8K booster. Um, so yeah, that's in my opinion that's pretty good.
I mean, he's alright. He's restricted by the fourth battle in order to get the counter charge. So
Yeah,
once again, if you see this common trend, they're trying to stop Aquaforce from our old days of title assault rushing. So it's not like you can smack down a light singles penguin soldier and get free Algo's turn. But it's good. It's AK booster. It's clearly going to be run just because you can.
yeah, and it's a counter charger. Like,
I don't know. I mean, once again, this is contingent upon if we get any draw type cards. I don't know if we're going to want to retire him.
yeah,
Period. Like, if he was like an Airmo where, fourth battle, retire him, draw one counter charge,
uh,
perfectly fine. But
that's
this is
so
just
beautiful.
worse, in my opinion.
Yeah,
5K doesn't. I could care
yeah,
less
the
about
5K
5K.
I can care less about, but the it's the counter charge part to me because when this card was first revealed, I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. Just made me think that our skills are going to be heavily costed, which I think Tidal Assault's going to unfortunately cost a counterblast this time around. I hope not. They didn't show him counterblasting one for Tidal Assault, and I wasn't paying attention to the damage when I first reviewed the episode, so I'm gonna check it out again. But hopefully that's not the
Actually,
cause.
if you I was just thinking about it. I might like Penguin Soldier a little bit more than what I initially thought. So we Maelstrom gives +3 to the front row, right? And so we
Hmm.
look at where, and let's just take Algos for example. We have Algos. So Algos, he's going to restand on his attack on the rearguard circle. From what we know, and so he hit anything. He's 12K. Sure, he'll hit but he's not going to hit a force marker. So that's obvious. But you get the +3K, so he's going to be sitting at 12. You use Light Signals Penguin Soldier, and he's going to be sitting at 17. The fact that he's going to be sitting at 17 means that we're going to be when we swing on any Vanguard now, both attacks when you swing on the Vanguard are going to force out a damage, a card from hand, and intercept. Be forcing out a card or damage from the opponent's hand um, on both of the swings, as opposed to only being able to swing with a boost for literally the same number once, and then on the or swing for 12, and then on the restand swing for 17 twice. You know, and I think that that's where entire counter charge skill. I think it's something where it should be optional. But I think that +5 skill is really, you really only want to use that on a restander, two guaranteed hits. And again, like I said, with Aqua Force, and I think this is what drives people away. People are like, I'm not forcing any damage. It's only a 5K block, and I'm like, you're not playing. The how much damage can I put on board all the time. You're playing the how many cards can I attack in your hand. We're attacking essentially their hand and their shields. How many cards can I draw out of you from this one card during my attacks? And I think that's what Light Signals brings to us. Obviously, behind the Vanguard, trash. behind a non-restanding rear guard, trash. But on a restanding rear guard, nice. And maybe, and Naval Gauge is going to restand the rear guard as well. So maybe you can put some work and give the +5 to Lazarus, and Lazarus will swing, and then you'll restand Lazarus with what's his face's ability, and you can go in from there. But again, Penguin Soldier is more just to create restanders a better chance at poking than anything else.
I mean, something also I kind of want to take back is maybe the 5K does matter because on a naval gazer turn, if you have an Excel circle, let's just say it's an Albus or something, and then you have this guy, it's basically it can be used as a free 13K. And what I say by that is because you think about it, you can put 5K to something, and then on a naval gazer turn, you swing and you stand light penguin soldier, and now you have a full count again because you're not just attacking with rear guards. So maybe it's just not that bad. Maybe it's not as good as we would have liked it to be, but it's definitely a 4.
Yeah,
It's not a fantastic card. That's what I look at. It's more or less a utility card, something that's like, you know, I need an Allen wrench here and there type of thing.
yeah, like I get it. Like I agree with what both of you guys are saying about it. Um, but I'm hoping that like I don't at this point I'm very I have little faith that we're gonna get a card that's like, oh, do this, draw a card. But we do get to ping people's hands because of Penguin, because that helps out a lot. Because let's say this is turn two, right? Because I was thinking about this while you guys were talking. If it's turn two, we ride Algos, we call Algos, call Penguin Soldier behind Algos, call Tidal Assault. Um, because I'm thinking back to like BT08, BT09, and BT13 when I used to play Aquaforce. Granted, we had stands back then, but and then even like BT13 or GBT13 or GBT09, um, like turn two with Tidal Assault on the board is scary because you would crit. So you rest Penguin Soldier, you use you rest Penguin Soldier, give it to the Algos in front of it, so he's now swinging for 14k. Swing with him for 14. You pay the cost, counterblast one, restand. Then you swing with Vanguard Algos, counterblast one, restand Penguin Soldier. So now you have a 22k column Algos, and then you have Tidal Assault that's just sitting there waiting to eat the trigger, so that way he can pressure your opponent more and still restand. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attacks on one turn. On a grade 2 turn, like your opponent's most likely not going to give you 2 damage on the first
Mm.
turn, but if they do for some reason, they kind of just like fill out their own funeral forms, because I don't know too many decks that by turn 2 can block 9 attacks or 6 attacks. I'm sorry, but yeah, I think it's going to be a
Stack.
good turn. And then you can refund the cost of it just by swinging with Tidal Assault and sacking off Penguin Soldier. Granted, it'd be great if we could draw a card, but whatever. You can't ask for anything, everything. So yeah, what do you guys hope that we get hopefully in the next set for Aquaforce, whether it's a extra booster or a main set?
I really hope we actually get a mini booster. I really like that idea of mini boosters, just giving a small sort of pick me up to clans who've gone a few months or whatever it is without support, since you have to wait so for main set support. So hopefully, I think this mini booster thing doesn't become a problem and overpowered, whatever. But I think it's a pretty interesting trend. But with that being said, I think that what I would like to see is maybe sure we could get something like Glory Maelstrom or whatever it is. Doubt it because I don't know if he was in the manga or not. I didn't read it, but if we could get something like Glory Maelstrom, but and have his effect changed or whatever it is to fit standard format and whatever it is that he will have some sort of, I've always wanted a Vanguard with a crit, for Aquaforce. I
Yeah.
think that if Aquaforce gets a Vanguard with a crit, that will immensely increase our pressure and chance to do some good.
Now, like, I think I agree with you, but I think the next quote unquote boss unit that we're gonna get, because we're not gonna get Ron Burgundy, aka what's his name, the brake ride. Crap, I'm blanking on his name, but I always call him Ron Burgundy.
Transcore.
Yeah, Transcore. He has the anchor. He's the anchor man. We're not gonna get Transcore as a boss unit. I think it's gonna be Tetra Drive, so we're gonna get a Restander. And to me, that is a more realistic thing to look at that we're gonna probably get. We never had a thing with a crit, and if they keep up with the trend of keeping the skills close to what they were before, I don't think we will. Excuse me, but sorry, but yeah, like hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully, like CFK said, we do get a Vanguard with a crit. I mean, I would love it, but I think we're gonna get a Transcore esque skill, if not that same exact unit. Um,
That's fine. I'm looking at Dragonic Overlord, and it's an underwhelming reach. I mean, even this version. I mean, restanding is restanding. And it's always a decent thing. But Dragonic Overlord's honestly an underwhelming restander. If he, and it's kind of like he's completely reliant on hitting a crit trigger for him to be any real threat as a restander. Otherwise, it's like, sure, I'll let him hit, and then I'll let you go. I'll let you neg one, maybe have a chance of hitting a crit with your third check or whatever it is. But he's honestly just kind of underwhelming, and so I don't if Aquaforce gets a restander in the way that they're kind of being careful, so to speak, with certain abilities and whatnot, especially with. I don't want a restander with just a super watered down. Um, the restand is cool, but not exactly that impressive. You know what I mean?
yeah, I got you. Because it needs to have some oomph in it so it can be like dangerous. Like I need to block this, or else it's like when my Nova Grappler friends attack my Dragonic Overlord. It's like, all right, you don't run any crits. Cool, hit me. But
Right. And that's the thing. If you're not running crits, if you're not running crits, a restander is not exactly as threatening. And as much as I do love front triggers, and hitting multiple front triggers on the restanding is cool, but I'm like, I'd want to hit a crit because that means that they could be that could be different. We could be taking or 2 damage, and I get out a perfect guard or some heavy shielding.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Very true. All right, so I think that's all that we have to say about Aquaforce as a whole, because there's not really much that we can go on, because they're obviously holding the best for last for us, and they kind of teased it today. What do you guys think about the AL4 set with Shadow Paladins, Murakumo, Dark Irregulars, and Pale Moon, and the recently, well, yesterday it was announced the next extra booster for Ultra Rare.
Ultra rare booster. Prize Neonectar is Force. I expected Neonectar to be Excel, especially if it's like Musketeers, knowing what they do. Gold Paladins being Excel, I called it. And Angels being Protect, who didn't know that. So it's going to be interesting. I'm glad to, I'm happy, I guess, to see, 3 more decks enter the game. I hate Angel Feathers the Passion because everybody and their mother who plays them seems to slow play. As for AL4, I know in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, that's where I hail. Everybody and their mother plays Shadow Paladin.
Well,
Everybody
but
plays Shadow.
but everybody wants to be an edge lord with Manscara. What's wrong with that?
because there's too many shadows running around.
Well,
And I'm like,
you need to shed some light on them.
someone,
You need to shed some light on them.
I
Show them the
mean,
way of
we all know that paladins have always sold royals, shadows, golds. I mean, and Kagro, and obviously Gear Chronicle when it came out. So I mean, there's just going to be clans that just sell more than others. And then shadows were good for like I, I mean, as long as I can remember. Shoot.
Well, yeah, but
oh, but dark irregulars
yeah.
though,
Uh,
what they do with dark irregulars, they could be really good. Because I don't think they're going to be super bad, but really good mediocre. Because if they follow, because Dark Irregulars have been historically a Russian roulette clan. You soul charge, you don't control what you soul charge, whatever it is. In the towards the end of the G era with Shaharlet, they gave them more command over the soul by being able to bring out, add cards from soul to hand, call out cards, whatever, fill your deck back up with triggers with like the restander or whatever it is. And I'm just like, okay, cool, but that kind of got out of hand, especially with all the guard manipulation skills that they had. So it's going to really depend on the direction they go. Dark irregular, because I can see that also being a real dark horse coming out of AL4, and I think it has a chance to be the best deck in AL4, but it depends what direction they go with Dark Irregulars and how they handle their soul and what player options players have to use with their soul, or if they have any option to use with their soul at all. Time limit. That thing. Dark Regulars are always on a time limit because they're soul charging so much and they're trying to power up their center column. And since we know it's protect because they're going to be soul charging their triggers, are they going to be able to stay in the game, long like OTT can. I pretty much guarantee they're going to have some type of guard manipulation and crit from their center column. But how are they going to really interact with the soul? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm mostly looking at because I care less about pale moons and shadows. I don't even know what they do.
yeah, like Neo Nectar being forced surprised the shit out of me too, because it's like they clone and they call, and now they're just centering it around Musketeers. Uh, I guess that makes sense? Question mark. Um,
Mark, right, right. Question mark.
yeah, it's like it wouldn't have been that bad if they switched around Gold Paladins and Musketeers or Neo Nectar because like it's a Paladin clan. You expect it to be it's to be expected to be a Force clan because so far all of the Paladins are Force clans.
Yeah, the gold. Golds were like always the Speedy Gonzalez of Paladins. It's like we can fill up a field faster, but all our stuff's going to be in rest mode. But at least we'll have a. Their thing is like, oh, but at least we have a board.
Yeah, but
That's what goals have always been to me.
yeah, but
Royals.
could you imagine Spectral Duke with Excel circles?
I can. Actual Duke will be a shadow paladin.
Yeah,
They're supposed.
like I didn't like you. I didn't read the manga, so I don't know. It's all just
Thing is,
speculation.
yeah, because apparently, well, someone was telling me this morning, who that because Spectral Duke actually is in his lore too. He's a shadow paladin, but because were locked up, from the void, going back to the first rendition of Vanguard, Duke had to move into, and that's why he was a gold pound. He should be a shadow pound.
Well, we can only hope. We can only speculate. We can only dream. Um, with the arrival of Ezel, I
I
don't.
hate him.
I don't. I don't think that we're gonna get Spectral Duke for a little while.
Yeah.
Yo, in all
That was
seriousness,
also
PSA, pick up your Flame Wind Lion Wander Ezels now. $9 each. Pick them up.
Jeez, $9 right now.
Yup, on TCG.
Oh my, oh
$9.
my goodness. This see the insanity has already begun. It hasn't even. It doesn't have an English release date yet. Yet they are $9 to $10. Jeez.
not playing premium. I refuse. That just sounds cancerous and it hasn't even come out yet.
And
You don't
Well,
even know what it does, and it's cancerous.
no, well,
dude,
it
it's
doesn't
gonna.
matter. It's the
Yeah,
same thing as Tarna. This card, all it does is if you have a grade 3 Vanguard that's stand with us on its name, search your deck, ride one. And, I mean,
and you
so you're
can.
just doubling your force or your excel
Yeah,
or
and
whatever.
you can have it as early as turn two because of the superior ride.
Yep.
And that's
I mean,
just
You're gonna Ree!
yeah, and like that's gonna suck. It's gonna suck for a lot of people going against that in premium. Like I'm not saying that premium is bad and at all. I think it's good. I'm just not ready to go into the wild wild west and enter a gunfight in a spittoon. So fuck that noise. I'm staying in standard for right now.
I'm staying standard forever. Packed up my stuff and I moved.
The king has spoken. Do not play premium if you don't want to get bodied by a bunch of
no,
saps.
I think premium seems crazy right now, but I mean, something I wasn't really around for, at least paid attention to, but from what people told me is this is the same thing that happened in like Magic with like Legacy and Modern. So just give it time, and it'll balance out. And I mean, there's going to be decks that are going to be the go-to, like Tron and Dredge are for Magic, but it's the same thing that'll happen with Vanguard. You'll see these decks come, and then you'll see decks come out that can beat them, and it'll have its own meta. Right now, it seems a little crazy, but it'll balance out. Just give it time.
I threw away all my G era cards, so
You just threw them away. You didn't even take them to your local card shop. You just threw them away.
nah. I I, I was just clean house. I'm just like X unup just hasn't been updated since Rondo of Chaos, and I just I mean I have my Aqua Force cards and all in like a little bit of a shoebox. So
Wow, you put Aquaforce in the shoebox. I see how
Okay,
it is.
but
Damn.
to be fair, he said he threw away his other cards. Us in a shoebox, it's okay. He still has them.
yeah, Aqua Force is safe. Everybody else,
They get the boot. Oh, so that's something I don't think I've even like fathomed. What do you guys think about Aquaforce and Premium?
or
Like,
Um, I mean, there's not much we can splash
no,
in Thavis, which was the strongest deck.
yeah,
And as far as Maelstrom goes, I mean that's a gimmick deck, so I don't know.
yeah.
Like to be honest, a lot of the premium decks right now are like the OTT premium deck with the Tom and Stillwater combo
Oh
is
god,
literally just the base standard OTT deck with Stillwater in the G zone and maybe some Stride Fire. But like otherwise, it's really maybe that's what we'll do is splash some. You know, obviously you're gonna need the Stride Fodder,
yeah,
but
and Algo.
other than that, maybe like because then you're like, all right, do I want to trade Excel circles for Thavis so that I can get Sipla, Melania, and Adelaide? Probably not.
Oh man, the trinity of Aquaforce waifus.
Oh, you just said that word. I'm gonna need to exit.
Listen, I have said it before and I'll say it again. I am a weeb and I am proud. Well, not really. I just like them. They're nice. Waifus are cool. Besides, weeb lives matter. Um,
All lives matter.
no, just the weebs.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, so I think that's all that we have for today. Um, of course, I am Black Guy Senpai. If they want to find you guys somewhere, where can they find you, Tiz? Because as far as I know, you're still relatively new to like YouTube and Vanguard.
Yeah, I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm in Proof's Discord if you want to reach out, had any questions. And then I also have an eBay store. It's the Magic Satchel. So just look us up, take a look at our prices, and send me a message if you're interested.
And of course, everybody knows CardFight King. You already know Aqua Life. I know I said it wrong, but whatever. That doesn't matter. Um, of course, you can find him on his YouTube channel because he's on mute right now. I'm just assuming that like he's dealing with some stuff. So find him on his YouTube channel. I know he has a Facebook page, Twitter. He's also in one of my Discords. I think he's also in Proof's Discord as well. So you guys hit them all up. And thanks for first off, thanks for joining you guys, talking to me about this stuff. And hopefully everybody listening got some good information, took something away, and we are out.